It's between bets. It's our week 3 NFL early betting cards. We're going to give you our favorite plays for the ATS totals, money line, markets. We'll also shout out maybe a couple player props we're leaning. It is Tuesday at the time of recording, so we're a little bit early in those markets. And we'll also hit our touchdown call contest at the end of the program. But let's start by recapping week 2. Gentlemen, how did the cards fare for you guys? Because I was in the green once again. College football has not been falling. NASCAR has not been falling right now for me, but I've been seeing the field well on the professional level of the football field. So hit the Tyler Warren over receiving yards, hit the Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown for multiple units. Also, the parlay of the week got home. That was over CeeDee Lamb on his reception total, over on his receiving total, and it was a sweater, but Cowboys money line came through. Thank you, Brandon Aubrey. So, Eric, it seemed like you were once again profitable by doing such an interesting approach here yet again in week number 2.
Yeah. So started week number 2 with perfection on the against the spread and totals. Market went 3-0 with the Bengals minus 3.5. A beautiful cover, if I do say so myself. Then we had the Patriots getting 1.5. They obviously won that one outright. And Chargers and Raiders did not disappoint. Under 46.5 was the mark there. And then I kind of peed down my leg in the prop market. The only prop of the 5 that I put in there, of the 4 I put in there, I should say, that hit was Puka Nacua going over on his reception totals. So 1 and 3 in the prop market. And then my favorite strategy, at least one of my most fun ways to sweat out the weekend, got back into the ladder market. This time went 2-piece. I circled right back around to Joe Flacco's passing attempt ladder. It's a 6-rung ladder going from 34 all the way up to 44. Cashed all 6 of those bets.
Wow.
And trickled out a little bit of a step stool, a 3-legged ladder, that being Drake May's rushing yards. Hit the 15 plus, hit the 25 plus.
Well done.
A little short of the 40 plus.
Can you explain what a ladder is?
Yeah. Yep. Ladders to new bettors. That's basically when you're starting at a lower number and you're just stacking those up, that you're taking the Joe Flacco. What was that number you started at? You said, Eric, 34?
Started at 34 pass attempts.
34. So you're starting at 34 for maybe your whole unit. Maybe then you're going to 35 for 3/4 of a unit. As you continue to move up the ladder, you're scaling down that unit size. Correct, Eric?
Generally, I like to kind of bracket it a little bit. Usually on the lower end, I'll do like 2 half units and then move to quarter units as we get further and further up. That way you're really kind of free rolling on those last rungs if you hit the first couple, right? That's typically how I walk those out.
Yeah, and even with him getting pulled at one point to see the young rookie Dylan Gabriel, you hit that. So nice hit on there for you. Steve, any luck for you in the betting streets in week number 2?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Let's get right into our picks. And Steve, you have a chance to bounce right back here in week 3. Where are you going in the ATS market?
Oh, I'm ready to get hurt again. And I'm going to add a little caveat to this one that I'm going to wait a bit. I just need to hear a little bit about Justin Fields on this one, but I'm going to go with the New York Jets +7 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a lot of points. Plus anything over a touchdown, like a full touchdown, an extra point, I usually will take that. I know the Dolphins are getting 12.5 against the Bills, and that also is really enticing to me because that's a lot of points, right? Like +7, this could be done in garbage time. You know what I mean? So I really like this. I expect, I don't want to keep, if it doesn't happen, I may move off the Jets. I've been in on the frisky Jets this season. I believe Aaron Glenn will fix this defense. There's too much talent for how bad this defense looks this season, right? Like he has to make an adjustment, or if this keeps going, he might be a one and done. Like it's been that bad.
And that's why I feel like it'd be hard for me to want to get invested in the Jets. I would understand if they were like a home dog, right? Like the home dog over a touchdown play, very popular. One of the more popular plays out there, especially early on in the NFL season. It's just a little hard for me to trust them against Tampa Bay, who has looked pretty good, at least pulling out games so far. But I understand.
But they're pulling out games.
Yeah, 7's a big number, so I understand there. Eric, you're also here in the ATS market. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm going back to a team that I find myself wagering on pretty frequently, that being the Los Angeles Chargers. I like them to cover 2.5 points at home versus the Denver Broncos. Look, this is a team that I think if the game goes according to their plan, they have the personnel and the coaching minds to play Denver's game and beat them at their own game. And then you look at what Denver's done through 2 weeks, and granted, they're 1-1. They realistically should be an 0-2 team, right? They have gotten in their own way and made a number of careless mistakes. So looking at what I believe to be very competitive and potentially a deep playoff run slated team with the Los Angeles Chargers, only laying 2.5 at home, I'm happy to wager that -110 over at DraftKings.
Let's go to the money line plays where we have a squad ride for the first time this season. Eric and myself both on the Houston Texans money line +105 from our friends over at ESPN Bet against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, I get it's been a pretty tough start for the Houston Texans, but for them to be dogs in this really feels like a bit of an overreaction by the books right now. They have won 3 of 4 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, never lost by more than 3 in the CJ Stroud era. And their big issue here that you're often seeing for the Texans is that their offensive line is absolutely cheap. So I get it. I get why the hesitation would be to fade this team into oblivion. But the Jags defensive line, in my opinion, is pretty mid at best. So they only got 1 sack against Carolina, which has a pretty good offensive line in week 1, and then only 3 against Cincy last week. We're able to knock Joe Burrow out of that game. But for the most part, especially towards the end of that game when Browning got in, they're holding up a little bit better there. So I think that we can potentially see a little bit sturdier of a Houston Texans offensive line. And I don't think that they're the type of team that will go, defeated here through the first stretch, especially in a divisional game. These can get weird, but I think they can hopefully continue to run the ball with Nick Chubb. He's looked like the best running back there. Let's mix in Woody Marks. Find Nico Collins. Can we get some receivers involved? Can Jaden Higgins see the field? Can Jalen Noel? Everyone wants to know on the internet, why are the Texans offense so bad? 1, it's that line. We just talked about it. 2, they spent 2 of their first 3 picks in the draft on wide receivers that aren't even touching the field barely. So I need to see more of that. Higgins' 1 catch last week was brilliant. I want to see it again. Eric, I'm sure so do you, as they're also running this money line out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I get why we're getting plus money on this, right? I have watched, fortunately, every snap of every Texans game this year and for several years. And it's a hard watch. There are plenty of points where you find yourself just scratching your head. What is this offense trying to do? What is their overarching concept and scheme? How do they sequence their plays to build off one another? Like, it's a tough scene out there for the Texans, but I think your sentiment is bang on that this is a bit of an overreact here, right? The Texans, from a personnel standpoint, are light years ahead of what the Jags are trotting out there. And while it wasn't pretty, CJ Stroud only had 11 pressures in that week 2 game. I think moving the rookie Ursary back to his natural left tackle position did bring some stability to that line. There were points where he was operating out of a clean pocket. He was able to have some time to move the ball down the field. Now his pressure rate is closer to middle of the pack instead of clearly the last in the league. So some things pointing up from a offensive line perspective for the Texans as well.
We're in the trenches here in week number 3, baby. Steve, staying with the money line market, you've got an upset special coming out there in the city of brotherly love. What do you have?
I do, and I'm taking the best team in the NFC right now, and that's the Los Angeles Rams to upset the reigning Super Bowl champions. Listen, this Rams defense, they're legit. They're good. They're good top to bottom. It's weird because I thought their secondary would be trash. It's not. That pass rush, elite. Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk, elite. Like, it's coming up. It looks good. And then on the offensive side, you know what? Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, they are showing that you can be a 2-man show and get the job done, right? Like, and we're seeing an absurd, like, historic levels of target shares going at these guys. But look at the Rams team and tell me where the weakness is. You can't really find it. And I think this is just such a complete team. And the Eagles have looked good, not great this season, right? Like, they've looked fine. but they do seem like they're searching for an identity a bit on offense, other than like, we're just going to hold the ball as long as possible, and you just can't score because you don't have it. It's like, all right, but it's not going to work every time. I smell an upset on the horizon. I think there's, to quote a song that I love, Avi Kaplan, I think there's some change on the rise in the NFC power dynamics.
Okay, well, I'll be excited to see it. I want to get to a couple comments here from our friend at Pokesports saying Cardinals Cowboys best underdogs for him this week, in his opinion. Appreciate that. And also saying Lions plus 185 on DK is crazy for that money line. Should be closer to a pick 'em. I agree. I definitely do think there is some EV there on the Lions. I figured this would be closer to a pick 'em. I didn't think there would be such a wide margin. But at the same time, you can get all the EV in the world and you still can sometimes not get it to the window. So it's just about kind of picking your spots. And I agree that I think there's some value there. I still don't know if I would be hesitant or confident enough to bet it, but appreciate that insight there from our friend in the chat. Let's get to some totals, guys. Really excited about this first one here. I am on the under of Las Vegas Raiders against the Washington Commanders, 44.5 points, minus 110 at DraftKings. Both of these teams have been two of the better teams to bet the under on this season, 0-2, both of them already this season. And I'm not afraid to bet the under in a game that is likely going to feature Geno Smith at quarterback for the Raiders and potentially Marcus Mariota at quarterback for the Commanders. Mariota's last start was a 19-13 win against the Falcons in late November, back a couple years ago. And even if Jane Daniels is in this game as well, he hasn't seemed to really look like himself so far this season. Terry McLaurin, I think, being out early in that preseason, missing some time in camp, adjusting some new runners in the backfield, new weapons out there in Deebo Samuel, is also taking some time. So, and also, boys, like what I witnessed on Monday night from Geno Smith was unjust. That was disgusting. This guy
felt victimized by it.
Oh my God. He came out. I'm excited. I got a lot of Ashton Genty. I got some Brock Bowers teams.
Didn't someone warned you about that, didn't he?
Fair. But to see Geno Smith come out on the first play and just try to gunsling it in there and throw one of the worst picks I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the guy thought he had an absolute rifle and it was such a bad look. Come back and do it just a couple of drives later. It was bad, man. It was a bad look for Geno Smith. So I'm not afraid to bet the under here. Steve, you also have an over, in the total market going to that Thursday night affair out in Buffalo.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the over in the Dolphins-Bills game because it's 49.5. Now, the spread is 12.5 points. I don't think the Dolphins are going to score 0. So I think they're saying that the Bills are going to score a gazillion points here, right? Because they don't have that good of a defense. They allowed 40 points week 1. And then Justin Fields got a concussion, and the Jets just didn't look like they knew how to play football last week. But the Dolphins just scored 30 points on the Patriots, who have a half-decent defense. I'm not sitting here saying, like, oh, yeah, this is going to be an absolute, like, this close of a game. But if you're giving me a 12.5-point spread, I'm just assuming that the Bills are going to score a bunch of points on a Dolphins defense that, have they stopped anyone yet? Like, at all? I mean, this team is finding it new and literally new and exciting ways to lose. They take a punt return back. I need to know if this has ever happened. They take a punt return back for a touchdown, kick the ball off, and Antonio Gibson takes it back for a touchdown, and they blow the lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible the way this team is finding ways to lose. I think they're a good offense. They're a terrible defense, and that's a recipe for a lot of points. It's 25 points apiece. I'm in.
Okay. All right. And Eric, you have a player prop that you're already down on. It was actually one that I was also considering getting invested with for Thursday night. So what do you have for us staying out there in the great city of Buffalo?
Yeah, going to the reigning MVP, to the signal caller, that being Josh Allen. Looking at his rushing line, and for some reason, it's all the way down at 26.5, at least courtesy of our friends over at Hard Rock. Other books have it at 27, 28. I think I've seen some 29s out there. So this one is a clear over in my book. Josh Allen has surpassed this total in both of his games this year, but also he's going up against those Miami Dolphins that currently sit 6th in rushing yards allowed to the quarterback position this season. So should be plenty of yardage on the table for Josh Allen.
Yeah, I almost went with him as one of my touchdown calls this week, but it's just really hard to drink like minus 160 on a quarterback. But I understand. I understand with how they made Drake May look last week. Daniel Jones in week 1. The quarterbacks have been boot scooting and boogieing around this this defense there in Miami. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's get to the touchdown calls and let's update the touchdown call contest leaderboard. Again, you guys can get invested with it over there by joining the IBT football family. That's our premium community where you're going to get access to our Discord, memorabilia giveaways, our full betting cards each and every week. Also, the touchdown contest where you can win yourself a nice little plaque. You can see it there on the touchdown call contest. We'll give you some IBT swag as well, but that's from Dynasty Decks. There's some great partners of us. Love working with them and love doing the touchdown call contest. We have Jake Perry in a 4-way tied in the lead with our boy Steve, Trav, Rob, all at 4 touchdown calls. You only get 2 calls a week, so averaging 1 per call there. I'm at 3 here, holding it down there in 5th. Ben, James sit there in 6th and 7th. And then on the board, finally, Eric and Trash and Tyler Bradley also still on the board, sitting there with 1. So, boys, we have some touchdown calls to make yet again. And I'll throw it over to you, Steve. You've been taking a lot of shrapnel today, some disagreement in the takes. So let's lift each other up here with some nice touchdown calls. What do you got?
You want them both?
I want them both. I want them both. I want them both.
All
You're
right.
in the league.
So let's clarify.
You can't choke
something.
here. You can't
Let's
choke.
clarify something. He's not throwing it over to me because I'm in the league. He's throwing it over to me because, first off, I am going with Brock Bowers plus 120 anytime touchdown. But then I'm going to show some love to your boy, Tyler Warren.
We are.
He's going to go for a touchdown. Plus 205 on DraftKings. I think it's time. We're going to see Tyler Warren get into that end zone. And I don't know how it'll be, but he's getting way too involved to not score a touchdown here in an offense that's scoring points by the bucket. I don't think they've punted yet. There's not been one possession they've had where they've not scored points. And Tyler Warren, I don't think has fallen into the end zone yet. So make it make sense. Just by the numbers, it's time for him to fall into the end zone. And honestly, the numbers are what I go by. It's just, hey, the odds state after X many catches, he's either Deontay Johnson or he'll fall into an end zone. I believe Tyler Warren is going to fall into the end zone this week. But Brock Bowers is the other guy that I would absolutely, you could take it to the bank that he's going to do well. Because he is playing, I forgot, the Commanders, who just got absolutely like boat raced by Tucker Kraft, who's not nearly as good as Brock Bowers. So bank on it.
Okay. All right. For my touchdown calls, I got 2 actually at plus money this week. First one, CeeDee Lamb Anytime TD plus 105 over there from Bet365. Hasn't scored a touchdown as well in 24 targets, 16 receptions, 222 yards. The Bears have allowed a league high 5 touchdowns, 2 wide receivers, 4 last week, 1 in week number 1 as well. They also just lost their cornerback one, Jalen Johnson, out indefinitely with a groin injury. I think CeeDee finds some pay dirt here in week number 3. And then also give me a little Zay Flowers Anytime TD. Don't love the number plus 125. I think I'll see if I can.
So low.
I'll see if I can maybe find a boost. But I mean, here's the thing, dude. You're looking at a guy in Zay Flowers, 42.6% of target share for the Ravens in the 2 weeks that they've played so far this season. 20 targets, 15.6 yards per reception as well. He's making the plays down the field. He's getting looks. I mean, how many over the top balls over the right or left shoulder did Lamar miss him on last week? And he's still getting those manufactured touches underneath. He also had 3 rushing opportunities over the past 2 weeks too. He's getting kind of that Rashee Rice role with a little bit of down the field action too. So really like what we've seen out of Zay, and the Lions are a perfect recipe for him. They've allowed 3 touchdowns this season, 2 wide receivers, 2 to Rome Odunze last week, 1 to Jaden Reed in week 1. Very similar players to Zay Flowers, in my opinion, kind of that shiftier, more mobile guy out there. So really like them. Sign me up for a player to score a touchdown in the highest total on the slate, 51.5 points, 2 points higher than any other game. So there you have it, Zay Flowers, and also a little CeeDee Lamb action on the Anytime TDs. Eric, where are you going for your touchdown calls?
So I like to apply a little bit of a game theory to all this. As part of the reason, it's probably the only reason why I've only gone found pay dirt on one of my
saving the
picks.
big ones for last, huh?
I like to save the big ones for last. That, and I don't want to squad ride with Seth twice in one show. CeeDee Lamb call is a beautiful one that I was taking a long, hard look at. Instead, I'll look at a player that I believe will have his greatest opportunity to score maybe in the entirety of the 2025 season, that being Jordan Mason. We know that Aaron Jones has been ruled out for this upcoming game. And so now he has the inside track. He's already looked like the more explosive runner. They've already been giving him ample opportunity inside the red zone. And when they're in scoring position, I think this is the week that he converts it out. And I think that this is an opportunity to get a player while he is sort of the flavor of the month. So minus 125 is the price tag that we have, thanks to our friends over at Fanatics. And in my second pick is one that Steve is absolutely going to love. Touchdown monster Drake London getting plus 155 over at DraftKings to score that touchdown. Look, if nothing else, Michael Penix knows where his bread is buttered. Drake London already has 2 end zone targets where he is being targeted while in the end zone on the very young season. And those are the highest propensity targets to convert into touchdowns. So the way that they're using him in a matchup against a hapless Carolina secondary, I like Drake London to find the box this week.